Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao chunashumme washmale. Ohio Gonzaimas, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Halishu machatore, ahlan wa sahlan marhaba. Buna mucho gracias, swabia bhalli kare aaya. Hosh galden and ayosayo, khuyamora, chivato, chihajud, kalimera, khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-learned colleague and looking very yellow today. She happens to be Miss Sadaf Ali Khan. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first. Hello Sadaf, Assalamu Alaikum. How are you feeling today?
I think I'm not feeling very well today because, I just had this cough and, my throat actually.
It's okay, so, I can probably take it further as well. But ladies and gentlemen, while I was coming towards work, there are two instances that I would want to share with my audiences. And that is, number one, I saw a guy who was really full of energy and having the best day of his life. And then I saw another lady who was sleeping on the sofa while she was in her office as well. And I was like, so people can be in so many different moods. Somebody can have a very good day and somebody might not be having a very good day as well. So it's really important for us to kind of be very considerate for all of those people who are not having a good day. So please make sure that you do not pass a judgment, you do not pass a comment, because you never know what they are struggling with. So I think that's the message that I would want to get started with.
And I have a question for you today, Shahzad. Because I had to ask this question and I don't want to miss this golden opportunity.
Sure, go ahead.
So I actually wanted to ask you, because we Pakistanis usually say that, whenever you feel the cold, you actually start feeling colder. Or jitni dafa aap kahenge ke, oh, sardi lag rahi hai, to utni dafa you're actually, going to attract cold towards you. So how far is this true?
I mean, I don't know, because, this is something that you put in my head just yesterday, saying that, that you accumulate more cold if you're not dressed appropriately and and then in days to come you will feel a little more colder. See, the only thing that I know about cold is that if you're going to dress according to the weather, you might not even feel that much disturbed because of the cold or because of the summers as well. So I think for anybody and everybody who's out there, please make sure that you're not underdressed and that you're not overdressed as well, so that you feel comfortable and that you can give it your best as well. So I don't manifest in a way because imagine then that means that even if we are in summers and if I think oh ji sardi lag rahi, it won't really be sardi lagna, right? So I think
I got that. So I have news here where cold, dry weather is expected in most parts of the country, and mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country. We're very cold and partly cloudy in hilly areas during the next 24 hours. According to Met Office, moderate to dense fog in patches is likely to prevail in upper parts and most districts of Punjab during the forecast period. Met Office has informed that continental air is prevailing over most parts of the country. A shallow westerly wave is present over northwestern parts of the country.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously it's not that we've actually been experiencing some below average temperatures over here. We will talk about it later in this program as well, what sort of weather catastrophe are we going through. But while we're at it, obviously there's another disaster that we really need to speak about. Our hearts and actually go out for all of those people who've lost their homes and who've lost their precious life in the Los Angeles disaster as well, where hot, powerful winds threatened to rekindle a whip-up major fire that have devastated the hills and suburbs of Los Angeles, killing at least 24 people and changing the face of America's second biggest city forever. A week after blazes erupted and spread uncontained, forecasters predicted particularly dangerous dry Santa Ana winds would spike the wildfire threat for already exhausted firefighters. A large part of Southern California is under a red flag warning, indicating that intense dryness and furious winds would make conditions ripe for wildfire. Part of Los Angeles County and much of neighboring Ventura County are in a particularly dangerous situation. Our prayers go out for all of those people who are actually struggling, for all the firefighters, for all of those people who've actually lost their lives as well. But imagine, I think for anybody and everybody who's actually, following this news, they might be seeing these
footages.
These footages where airplanes are actually kind of dumping this pink powder out.
Yes.
What is
so
that
I can
pink
tell
powder?
you what is the pink powder, and it's being used to fight fires in Los Angeles, as you can see on your screens. As wildfires rage across Los Angeles, the fire department is employing various methods to control the flames, including the use of fire retardants. Widely shared images showed airplanes and helicopters dropping bright red and pink powder, leaving many puzzled. The substance, called post-check, is sprayed around wildfires on vegetation and fire-prone land to prevent the flames from spreading. Composed of 80% water, 14% fertilizer-type salts and 6% coloring agents. Its bright color helps pilots and firefighters target critical areas effectively.
Exactly, and it's even making it difficult for the pilots to kind of fly through the Los Angeles portion of their airspace, and it's because of the fact that it's too windy, so they might not be hitting on the target. But while we're at it, there's one team which is actually planning to hit on the target, and that's Pakistani team against West Indies, where the Pakistani cricket team hold practice session at Multan Cricket Stadium ahead of their two-match test series against the West Indies. During the training, all 15 players focus on batting, bowling and fielding under the supervision of their coaches. The two-match test series between Pakistan and West Indies is scheduled to start from January 17th. The second test of the series will take place at Multan from January 25th to 29th. Well, that's not it. I mean, obviously, we would want Pakistan to win after, a very embarrassing loss, against South Africa. And certainly, we might not have been doing really very well in Test cricket, but there's one thing where we are really doing great at. Do you want me to share that?
Yes, please
So,
go ahead.
ladies and gentlemen, imagine that SUPARCO is actually to launch the EO1 satellite on January 17th. Let's get to know about it more. The Space and Upper Atmosphere Research Commission, SUPARCO, announced the launch of the country's indigenous electro-optical EO1 satellite on January 17th from the Huquan Satellite Center, China. And the indigenous electro-optical satellite is an advanced imaging satellite developed to capture high-resolution optical images of the Earth. Such satellites are typically used for a wide range of applications, including environmental monitoring, urban planning, agriculture, and defense and surveillance. I think it's a proud moment for me as a Pakistani, because Alhamdulillah, I was a part of their team when we were doing the launch of the PakSat MM1. It was the second satellite which was being launched. It was going to give us, Wi-Fi, uninterrupted Wi-Fi, internet services, navigation and whatnot. But now imagine that if we are to kind of say that, that there's this satellite which we have built from scratch, made be the hardware, made be the software, and Pakistan owns it, by themselves. Our engineers have worked hard for it. So I think it certainly calls for a celebration. We actually want to wish best of luck to SUPARCO, for the launch on the 17th of January as well. To speak about it, we're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been joined by the General Manager, SUPARCO. He happens to be Mr. Zain Bukhari. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you, my brother?
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you over here. So, first things first, let's speak about the electro-optical satellite. What is that? What's the purpose of such a satellite?
Yes, I would like to just briefly describe the mission, that what is electro-optical satellite is.
Sure.
And actually, electro-optical satellite is such a satellite that is equipped with the cameras. And those spaceborne cameras are somewhat similar to the cameras that we have in our smartphones, but much more advanced than that.
How many megapixels, if I am to ask it? Is it megapixel or
It's actually we quantify in the terms of its resolution.
Okay.
So it is quite a high resolution camera.
Is it high definition?
It's quite a high resolution camera that we are using in the satellite.
All right.
Okay, and what are the applications of these types of satellites?
Sorry, sir.
No, it's okay. So with the help of these cameras, we will be able to image the Earth, and we will be able to observe the every minute details of the surface of the Earth. And those minute details and the imagery that we will be getting from those from this kind of a satellite will be utilized in various applications. That, as you were referring to the applications, there are few areas in which we will be focusing on. And one of the major area will be the agriculture area, in which we'll be providing services in the form of crop monitoring, in the form of yield estimations, in the form of food security insurance, and moreover in the form of water resource management.
Wow.
And we'll be looking forward to take it to the level of precision farming, in which we can really educate the farmers so that they can take the right decision at the right time. Actually, it's really the call of right now we are deficient of the resources, and we need to utilize our resources much more in an efficient manner. And by utilizing this application, by utilizing this kind of technology, we will be able, inshallah, to help our farmers. And
So the farmers will be able to access the information directly
we will
from
be providing such services to them actually, to the
Okay.
farmers and to the decision makers actually.
Thank you so much for saying that. You know,
Yeah.
in addition to this, I think I would want to kind of refer to it in a very positive manner. It's because of the fact that imagine they're at Durustai, and it's because imagine that we do experience climate change. Now, imagine that with climate change, we have seen that how there's been a shift in the, you know, yielding process, how and when you really need to make sure that you sow your crop and whatnot. And not just that, I think water insecurity is becoming a bigger challenge for Pakistan because they say that it's estimated that in next 15 years we might not have as much amount of water as we have right now.
Absolutely, we will be able to track the actual water content level in the crops and the soil. So that will really help in the security of the water reservoirs.
Exactly.
You will be able to make predictions based on that as well.
Absolutely. This is what we call as yield estimation. We will be predicting that how much yield we are expecting in this year, and accordingly the decision makers and the management can take the decisions accordingly.
So basically, we will be able to manage our natural resources
Absolutely.
in a beautiful manner. I mean,
Exactly.
it's exactly how my mother would actually kind of keep an eye on atta khatam ho gaya, chini khatam ho gayi, dal khatam ho gayi. You know, so it's basically it's going to be great. But while we're at it, and before I move on towards how we have indigenously built it, now let me speak about how do you think that any Pakistani will be able to take advantage of this satellite for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, for example, if I am to see whether it's foggy outside or not, I have to go onto the website, look for, okay, you know, what's the motorway telling me? What about National Disaster Management Authority? Do you think that we will be able to foresee, you know, in present time that whether a drought is coming or not, whether there's flooding or not? Do you think that we will be able to?
These natural disasters, we are focusing on the natural disasters, and we will be facilitating these kind of agencies by providing this kind of the support, and this is one of the major applications in which we will be working on. In case of an earthquake comes at any area, in case of the flooding, and in these cases it is almost impossible, it is not humanly possible to go into that area and look for the actual condition of the land. So we will be providing those services in no time. And
You actually,
subsequently,
I'm so sorry to interrupt you
it's
over
okay.
here. You actually mentioned earthquake.
Yeah.
Will it be able to predict an earthquake as
No,
well?
I
Like,
think
is
it will
there
give
any
us images.
possibility?
we will give you the images, and in no time, because the extent of the damage done by such kind of natural calamity is most important that we get those the data. We get that data as soon as possible, so that the relief operations and the rescue operations are being activated as soon as possible.
So exactly, it will
That's
actually
amazing.
support us with the extraction and conservation strategies as well, which I
Yeah.
believe is beautiful.
Yeah,
We needed it. Now, moving on towards my last point before moving on to the indigenous development of the satellite, and that is, do you think that we will be able to monitor our minerals, oil, gas, you know, and where do they lie? Do you think that we will be able to kind of figure out new wells of oil over here in the country?
This is also a very important point, and we
I'm
are looking
excited.
forward to it as well, because since we are able to see the minute details of the surface of the earth, so we will be able to see that as per the formation and the deformation in the land, we will be able to predict that, okay, now this is the area we should be looking for the oil, this is the area we should be looking in the minerals. So this is also one of the major applications we'll be working on using this EO1 satellite.
Wow. I
Okay, so
think-
if we talk about the socio-economic perspective,
Yeah.
what benefits are we going to have from it?
Yeah, it will immensely benefit, inshallah, the socio-economic development of our country, and by creating the sense of innovation in our youngsters, and they will be able to learn and educate themselves more in this kind of the field, and ultimately we will be able to create more jobs. And this whole perspective, working on these all applications, will ultimately result in the socio-economic development of our
Well,
country.
exactly, and imagine that, you know, now you've got your eyes out, you know, you are actually keeping an eye out on your resources, what's happening, you know, the yielding that you spoke about as well, the minerals, the resources, flooding, earthquakes. I think it's going to be a blessing in disguise. So hats off to you guys, first of all.
Thank you very
You know, because you indigenously built it as well, and this is exactly where I would want to bring this conversation. Now, imagine that this is for the very first time that I came across to know that, you know, that Pakistan has built a satellite indigenously. Now, let's speak about it as well. Are we saying that may it be the hardware, may it be the software, anything and everything that made up this satellite was from Pakistan, it was built in Pakistan, no parts were imported from anywhere else, and that we did it by ourselves? Are we there?
Yeah, actually, let me just give you a brief background for where it all started. Actually, it all started from 2011 when we first launched our first communication satellite, Paksat 1R, and Alhamdulillah, till date, it is performing pretty well. And then the next milestone that we achieved was in 2018, in which we launched. That was a co-launch, and in which we launched PakTest 1A, that is in test and evaluation satellite, and the other was a remote sensing satellite in collaboration with China. And there on the journey continued, and then in 2023 it was a launch of PakSat MM1, which you really mentioned earlier, and this all actually laid the foundation towards the ultimate goal of indigenization, which we have been looking for years. And Alhamdulillah, this satellite is set to be launched on 17th of January. Whole of the activities, whole of the process, whole of the indigenization and the development process has been conducted in the SUPARCO facilities, local facilities, and nothing has been taken forward.
I think it's beautiful, which is why, I'm going to ask you this, because when for the very first time I hosted it for SUPARCO, the event, and the launch of ParkSat MM1, that's exactly where I got to know that, there are 3 different types of satellites. So may it be NEO, GEO, and LEO, right? So depending on where they are going to orbit. So if we are to speak about this optical eye, which we are going to keep out for us and for ourselves as well, and for the socio-economic development, is it a NEO, GEO, or LEO?
Actually, you are referring to eye again and again, and actually this kind of a satellite is actually eye in the sky.
Okay.
And this is a LEO satellite, it's a low Earth orbit satellite, and that will be in this space around 500 to 1000. It's a corridor in which it will be orbiting.
You have mentioned other satellites that we have sent in the space. So if we talk about this electro-optical satellite, how is it different from the previous ones?
Actually, it is different in a way that I have already explained that all the indigenous effort that we have done, and we have built this satellite on our own, and especially now we have incorporated all the advanced technological research and all that what we have been doing for the past years, and now this satellite is right now the state-of-the-art satellite with the payload that can be utilized in all the applications that I have mentioned.
Exactly,
before.
and thank you so much for saying that as well. But I've got a very interesting question over here, and that is because when I got a chance, I don't know whether I should say it on TV or not, because it can be highly confidential, but I'm going to share it because it was my experience. It was out there, it was sort of a museum sort of a thing. As soon as you enter the SUPARCO training area, the sats does not look like the image that we are sharing on our television screens right now. So I saw these small satellites, probably, you can fit them in your both hands. I saw a little bigger ones as well. I saw some rocket ones, so different types. So these pictures that we're sharing, do you think that the satellite does look like this, or it's a very different?
One of the pictures, I think it is quite similar to the one that we are launching right now.
Wow.
And actually, our satellite is set to be launched on 17th. And one thing that I should mention is that our satellite, this one is
so,
quite...
and if you don't mind, so these on the left and the right, are these the solar panels?
Exactly, they are.
Wow.
Exactly.
So I know about satellites now.
You know pretty well.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's great. See, I'm the science guy now all of a sudden. I need to have a science show now. Wow, it's wonderful. So on the 17th, inshallah, we will be launching from China.
Yeah. So all the pre-launch tests have been conducted successfully, and it is in the final stages. It is at the Jichuan Satellite Launch Center in China, and I would request the whole nation to pray for the successful launch of this satellite.
Inshallah.
Oh, yes,
all you need for the launch is a good host, to be over there. Probably you go back and think about it, but I'm not available on 17th. I'm in Lahore. Just kidding. But ladies and gentlemen, obviously, the nation needs to come together, and I think our mission over here at PTV World is to make sure that we share with people what beautiful things that our Pakistani institutions are doing, our Pakistani men and women are doing, because most of the time what happens is that, with all of that entertainment which is going on, I'm not going to name any channel, we forget to kind of look for things which are really positive for Pakistan. Wonderful. Very quickly towards the end, one last question from you, Zain bhai, and that is that, I don't know whether you heard about it or not, but, we had a report made by our team member Sajeel Dogar about the space debris, right? Now imagine that so many satellites being sent up in the atmosphere, will eventually one day fall down on Earth, right? Do you think that we are actually working in that direction as well, that we really need to make sure that wherever they fall down, that there's lesser and lesser damage, or probably they fall down at a place where, or they successfully land back? Are we thinking on that?
No, absolutely. We are working on that. There is a specific department that is working on the space debris as well. And normally these debris just not fall down as you just mentioned here. And the issue is that in the space, the debris should not hit our satellite.
Yeah.
So for that we have the analysis that we have been doing for quite a long time, and we are looking, we are in safe hands actually.
Wow, it's wonderful. I seriously want to give you guys a big round of applause, everybody at SUPARCO, everybody who's actually taken this initiative for our satellites to be out there, and inshallah very soon. I think, there was this news as well that we will be sending a rover to the moon as well, right? Yeah, we're working on that, right?
We are working on it. Right?
Yeah, because I shared this news and I remember everything. So
yeah, and Shahzad is becoming the science guy again.
I am.
Very
I've
nice. That's really
guy,
good.
I think you did a program on that as well.
Yes. So alhamdulillah, thank you so much, Zain bhai. Thank you so much for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with General Manager SUPARCO, ladies and gentlemen. On the 17th, inshallah, Pakistan will be launching its electro-optical satellite into the orbit, which is actually going to help us for our socio-economic development. It's going to keep an eye on the resources. It will keep an eye on how the yielding process needs to be done rightfully. If water is becoming scarce, what steps needs to be taken. I think probably finally, not just numbers, finally we'll have images as well to kind of prove that whatever we are saying is right. I think it's beautiful. But now I think I've always mentioned, Sadaf, that we really need to remember our heroes.
Yes.
And obviously, GM SUPARCO, Mr. Zain is no less than a hero. For anybody and everybody who's contributed to the progress and prosperity of the country is not less than a hero. For all our athletes who've represented Pakistan all over the globe are our heroes. But for all of our artists and poets are even our heroes as well. Which is why today we're actually remembering the
Mohsen Naqvi's Sahab's birthday.
The death anniversary.
I'm so sorry. Mohsen Naqvi remembered death anniversary of renowned poet today. And the death anniversary of renowned Urdu poet Mohsen Naqvi is being observed today. He was born on 5th May 1947 in Dera Ghazi Khan. Mohsen Naqvi contributed a lot to Urdu language, especially in the genre of ghazal. He was also known as the poet of Ahle Bayt. His poetry about the Battle of Karbala is recited across the country and receives much deserves appreciation. So Mohsen Naqvi Sahib's death anniversary is today.
So may his soul rest in peace and patience for the bereaved. And thank you so much, Mohsen Naqvi Sahab, up there. If you're listening to us right now today, thank you so much for contributing towards the arts and culture of the country as well. But while we're at it, obviously I'm going to take you back to the space because I'm the science guy now all of a sudden. So a bright comet will be visible in the skies across the globe over the coming days for the first time in 160,000 years. According to NASA, the comet could remain bright enough to be seen by the naked eye. The comet was at perihelion, the point at which it is closest to the sun, which influences how bright it appears. While the exact locations for possible visibility are unknown, experts believe the comet, which could shine as bright as Venus, may be best observed from the southern hemisphere, such as Australia and Antarctica. So ticket katao, te chaliye fir Australia jaake comet dekhiye. But while we're at it, because I'm the science guy now, I'm sorry if I'm repeating it too much.
We're repeating it too much, actually.
See, the tail that you see, please make sure that if you're seeing it with your naked eye, that you don't think that, that it's a tuta tara or, it's a broken star or whatnot. Because what happens is that, it aligns itself in front of the sun in a way where when the rays actually kind of touch the comet, it actually kind of leaves the trail behind, and it's basically the sun's light.
So we cannot make wishes.
I mean, you have to make wishes and prayers to Allah Almighty, not to a comet, okay?
Oh, now we cannot do that.
So please,
so all the stuff that we're watching in movies, that's...
I want everybody, so movies is movies. I want everybody to, kind of have the right mindset about it.
Very nice.
Only Allah can bless you with whatever you want in life.
That was on a lighter note.
No, yeah, I know that, but not a comet or anything else. I'm sorry, I was just pulling your leg.
No problem. And now I have news where Spain plans 100% tax for homes bought by non-EU residents.
That's unfair.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Spain plans to impose a tax of up to 100% on properties bought by non-EU residents, including those from the United Kingdom. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced the measure to address the housing crisis, prioritizing homes for residents over foreign investors. Non-EU residents purchased 27,000 properties in Spain in 2023. Often for profit. The government is still finalizing details and the proposal will undergo careful study before being presented to Parliament.
All right,
Yeah.
so I don't know whether, for non-European Union residents really need to kind of go to Spain now. Please make sure that you look for a country where you do not have to pay 100% tax on a new house, okay? So, while we're at it, I think I'm going to bring it back to where, we actually did pray for all of our people struggling in Los Angeles fire, and obviously, certainly we're not forgetting about our brothers and sisters in Gaza, our brothers and sisters in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. But there's a very different context to it. Now, imagine that the world has been speaking about climate change, global warming, and we do know for a fact that in 2024, we have actually surpassed 1.5 degrees of global warming, which is going to make its effect even in this year as well. We have seen that how there's been, not below average temperatures recorded even in Islamabad, even in Lahore, and even in Karachi. Now imagine
And
Karachi.
even no rain, no signs of
and no
rain. If
rain,
you talk
no
about
sign
it.
of,
Yeah.
of that as well. But not just that, I think with temperatures rising around the globe and the oceans are getting usually warm, scientists are warning that the world has entered a dangerous new era of chaotic floods, storms and fires, worse by human caused by climate change. Now imagine, people are actually saying that, there was this gentleman or a guy, who's actually been arrested in the Los Angeles fire, and it started because of all of that. But this time around the year, in January, Los Angeles is actually expected to receive rainfalls, but it didn't. And it's because of the climate change that is taking place. What sort of impact will it have? And do we really think that, that this fire might be because of climate change or global warming? To kind of speak about it, we are really lucky that we've actually been joined by one of our favorite environmentalists. He happens to be Dr. Ejaz Ahmad. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and I'm glad to see the news.
Thank you so much, sir.
set.
This so far the set is obviously for our guests, and it's because of all of our guests and viewers that we were able to kind of reach this level and point. Alhamdulillah.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
But sir, to get started with it, there's always been a debate, and I do know for a fact that from within my office, I've had people speak against it, because imagine that there was a time that I brought a scientist over here on my show, and he said that it's the El Nino phenomena which is going on. Now, a lot of people, who are the climate change advocates do not really want to kind of agree to this phenomena. First of all, I would want your take on this. Do you think that it's the El Nino negative phase which is going on, or do you think it's literally climate change or global warming, or is it everything working together?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything, because it's not only like one or the other. The overall climate change scenario, we all, as you were just talking about, the rain that we used to get during the winter, we have not received. So November, December, and like half of January has gone without any rain. True. And this is very crucial from food security point of view, because we, this is a month where we start sowing wheat, and wheat is the main staple, food, and if we don't get a good crop, so ultimately, we are going to suffer. Yeah. So it's unfortunate that, and similarly, when we talk about LA or California, the wildfire, they have gone through this whole, a decade of drought. So there was, only 2 years for last decade where they got some rain, they got some floods also. True. But even, so far, they have not received any rain from October onward. So that is, I think, combination of global warming, climate change, and all the scenarios that we actually
we see so many talks going on about the climate change. Everybody's talking about it. Either it be on television, either it be about conferences, either it be about, anywhere we talk about the climate change, the global climate change, we talk about it. but there are no concrete measures or steps that we see. Whenever, like there are the talks, we just come, we talk, and then nothing really happens. Nobody is ready for that change that we actually
that we have
need at this point of
COP29
time.
now.
Exactly. So what measures can we actually take?
Well, I think there are, like efforts which have been made, but they are not that visible in a sense. The impact that we are getting from climate change is much, much more than what we actually have been doing. For example, I mean, like the plantation, massive plantation drives in different part of the world, including Pakistan, electric vehicles, all these things, they do contribute. But I think the damage is so enormous that this will take time. And I always say that if you plant a tree, it will take 70 to 80 years to grow, to mature. And it takes only 1 minute to cut it. And in order to achieve that, again, you need another 70, 80 years. So it's a slow process.
Exactly.
So you will not see the impact right there and then. But I think, unfortunately, when we talk about the global community, there is much talk and talk and talk. I agree with you, and that is one of the reasons we have gone into COP29. So which basically means 29 to 30 years have gone into all this talk, and we have not been able to agree on certain areas.
Exactly.
So when I was a school-going girl, we used to talk about the depletion of ozone layer. We used to talk about this ozone mein surakh ho gaya. Matlab in literal, in general terms, in metaphorical ways, bachcho ke liye aasan karne ke liye. This had been taken. Oh yes, but it is basically the depletion of ozone layer. This is not a round circular ek surakh jo uske andar ban gaya. So the thing is this ke we had been talking about it, and everybody used to think that climate change or this depletion of ozone layer, this is just a myth. But now this myth is actually becoming a reality. And now when we talk about the future, we talk about the upcoming generations, the water won't be there, this is how the earth is going to look like. And even in, I talk so much about movies, but even in movies we do see that but there is no signs of rain, no signs of food. How far is that true?
But I think still the political leadership in different part of world, including USA, the now Trump government, they think that climate change is just a sort of drama. It's not the reality. And I was actually seeing some of the clips of Trump, and he said that like just because of a small fish, we are like doing this and this. So basically, I think it's very important to understand that whether it's a small fish, whether it's a large fish, or whether it's a mosquito, or it has its role. It has its role, and if we finish that role, ultimately something is going to happen.
Exactly, and thank you so much, sir, for saying that, because I've shared this example before as well. This documentary on a jungle where the fox actually went obsolete. It went extinct rather. And imagine that the entire ecosystem was disturbed. So they had to bring them back in so that the jungle could live on its own as well, and it's sustainable. While we are at it, sir, now imagine from 2023, you have seen seen hurricanes like Helen and Milton. We have seen how pilgrims, unfortunately, in Saudi Arabia died of extreme heat. We have seen temperatures soaring in Europe, and where 47,000 people actually died because of heat. We have seen over here in Islamabad how in summers the Maghra Hills were on fire because of too much of heat and temperature. And if we are to speak about the temperature warning, it has gone up to 1.5 degrees centigrade. And we have seen how unfortunately from 2022 till 2025 now, Pakistan has suffered. There have been floods. We have had losses of $40 billion. We have lost so many lives. There's so many islands which are getting extinct as well. They're no more to be seen. There's water being depleting. There's glaciers being depleting. And we know all of this. And yet, for all of those countries who are actually immensely contributing to the carbon emissions, are not letting ke unke kanon pe joom bhi leen jaye.
Exactly.
So this is where the all of those countries who are suffering really need to kind of come together. But unfortunately, sorry that the question is a little longer, but unfortunately, I do think for a fact that we are falling short, and it's because of the fact that we cannot tap onto the climate fund which is available, and it's because of the fact that we are still unable to design those projects which will actually help us bring the nature back to its original origin.
It's very unfortunate. I mean, like as you mentioned, we need resources, both financial as well as human resources, and we are not investing in it, unfortunately, because we think that we should go and find some international donor. But I think the situation, seeing what happened in last 29-30 years, I think we need to come up with ideas which are indigenous and local solutions instead of and technology transfer is one of the area where we need to actually. China is now a technological giant, so we need to have some partnership with them, as we just witnessed that the SUPARCO is going for that partnership. So I think we need to look into this kind of partnership, not only related to SUPARCO, but also to agriculture, to climate, to water conservation. So I think we need to find some local solution instead of looking for outside. Otherwise, we'll be just talking and we'll be waiting for somebody comes and support us. The damage that was caused in 2022 floods were enormous, and still there are people in Sindh who are not still bigger.
Sir, even in Southern California, they received huge amount of rain, just the previous year. Now all of a sudden, Los Angeles, they're experiencing droughts. Now imagine that, that there's no saying that, okay, it's winter time now, so you can experience heat in winters now. There's no summertime. Probably, there's a big shift, and I think everybody needs to come together, because
but
unfortunately,
here, we're talking about the local solutions as well. I just want to ask him a question.
Go ahead.
That you're talking about the local solutions. What can a common person, a common man do in order to, be beneficial for Mother Nature, in order to be beneficial for this whole planet, to transform this place into a better living place? How can we play our part?
Yeah, I think there is no, rocket science. Some of the reasons that the root causes of the climate change is, carbon emissions are more and more. So there are ways to reduce carbon emissions, and there are ways to sink to get carbon dioxide absorbed. And the best thing that we can see is the plant. So if we have a massive plantation in different part of Pakistan, the amount of carbon dioxide, the emissions that we produce is not that high. So ultimately we can actually, instead of having our cities expansion at the cost of forests, at the cost of the fragile ecosystem, I think we need to come up with certain better urban planning and better ways to have more greener area where we can get the carbon.
Using better materials which are eco-friendly, which actually supports the nature.
Alternate energy options are enormous. I mean, like solar is one, but then hydel and many other options are there. So the solutions are already there, but we need to, I mean, like very small area, how you can manage your waste.
Yeah.
That itself, I think, is a huge contribution if we can manage our waste, or just how to conserve our water. Rainwater harvesting systems are so easy and very cheap.
Obviously, so we can obviously move on to alternate resources, ladies and gentlemen. The world's doing it. But thank you so much, Dr. Ejaz,
thank you
for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. For everybody who's out there, I think Sadaf hit the nail on the head by saying that we really need to kind of be careful ourselves. Obviously, Pakistan does not contribute. Pakistan is not a contributor, probably at 0.004%. And we really need to kind of work towards it, because it's because of the fact that we are most vulnerable. We've had the impact of climate change and global warming in terms of flooding, in terms of extreme temperatures, in terms of extreme cold, in terms of glaciers melting. There's 7,000 glaciers which are melting at a speed which in 15 years, unfortunately, we might not even have water. So I think this is the time that everybody needs to kind of work towards that. We've fulfilled our responsibility by making sure that we raise our concerns and voices about it. But while we're at it, now imagine, don't you think, because they say that, that diamond is a woman's best friend, is that true?
Oh yes,
really?
Oh yes.
Really?
Every girl loves diamonds.
Really?
There is this glitter, shine, I don't know, like that
Yeah, like
sense
this, like
of.
this?
Oh my God! You know, like look at he's
So I don't know whether I
flaunting.
should do this or-
I really like
I
it.
should do this on
But
TV
I
or not.
appreciate it as well. No,
Thank you
like
so much.
some things are beyond. You know,
I'm
like
going to
the
thank my sister because she gifted it to me. But
This is really beautiful. But
physicists have tested
scientists-
a new carbon structure.
yes.
The BC8 base phase, which could be 30% harder than diamond found in materials like silicon and germanium. BC8 carbon is theorized to exist in high-pressure exoplanet interiors, but not naturally on Earth. Advanced simulations reveal its potential, though attempts to synthesize it in laboratories have failed due to the precise unknown conditions required. If created, BC8 carbon could revolutionize applications needing ultra-hard materials, offering breakthroughs in science and industry. Wow. So is it going to be more expensive than a diamond then? Or do you think that we're willing to kind of invest in it? I mean, I've got so many science news today. I really feel like a science guy. Where's my lab coat? Hey, yeah, where's my lab coat? Yeah.
You will be getting a gold nugget.
Oh, really?
Oh,
From where?
yes. From where scientists have discovered how massive gold nuggets form. According to them, pressure from earthquakes on quartz creates electric fields which pull dissolved gold from nearby fluids. Experiments at Monash University in Melbourne showed that stress quartz can extract gold from water, forming tiny particles on its surface. This process may explain how large gold nuggets can be formed.
All right, well, that's wonderful. You know, you
Yeah.
were great with the science news as well, but while we're
Yeah.
at the science of gold and diamonds and high pressure materials as well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you, I'm going to simplify it for you. I'm going to bring you to where, you know, for anybody to kind of learn how to sing, they really need to kind of know how, on what scales these instruments are actually going to share with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're very lucky that we will be exploring the instrument
yes.
Harmonium today,
yes.
which happens to be a musical masterpiece. And we've got Hassan Abbas with us, who happens to be a vocalist and a singer. Hello, Hassan. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
वालेकुम अस्सलाम.
Hello,
Good morning
Hassan.
to कैसे हैं आप? खैरियत से हैं?
Thank you so much for joining us, Hassan. It's wonderful to
और
have you over
मैं
here.
अगेन शुक्रगुजार हूँ आपका पीटीवी वर्ल्ड वालों का और बहुत खूबसूरत.
हम भी आपके बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं कि आपने आज वक्त निकाला और
यहाँ
सवेरे जो है
तशरीफ
वो
लाए।
आज आप हमारे प्रोग्राम
Thank you.
पर तशरीफ
बहुत
लाए।
शुक्रिया, thank
आइए सुनते हैं आपका हारमोनियम और आपका मजेदार वोकल।
जी. शुरू में मेरा जी है कि आपको गज़ल सुनाई जाए.
Oh, yes.
मेहदी हसन साहब,
Oh,
जो
yes.
कि हमारे पाकिस्तान
Oh,
का
please,
बहुत बड़ा
please,
नाम है.
please.
रंजिशे सही रंजिशे सही दिल ही दुखाने के लिए रंजिशे सही दिल ही दुखाने के लिए आप ही से मुझे छोड़ के जाने के लिए रंजिशे से ही दिल ही दुखाने के लिए रंजिशे से ही.
क्या बात है।
Can
Wow,
we,
Hassan,
can
that
we
was
take
beautiful.
this further? Can we go from there? वो किस किस से छुपाएंगे?
Go ahead, sing something.
किस को बताएंगे जुदाई का
सबब हम
किस किस को बताएंगे जुदाई का सबब हम. तू मुझे से खफा है तो जमाने के लिए रंजिशी से ही मेरे गा पव गरे गा गरे गरे सरे रे सब मेरे गा मदा मदा
God, this is
रे
beautiful.
बगा मा प प प प प गरे गा गरे प मरे गा प मरे गरे प गरे गा गरे गरे सरे रे सरंजी शी
क्या बात है यार, क्या बात है, क्या बात है। Otherwise, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
This
Wow,
is
you
so
made our morning
beautiful.
fantastic as
Oh,
well.
yes.
And
So kind.
imagine, I think because you know you and Sadaf are actually singing so nice, I thought that you guys went to the same school. You're wearing the
आपको-
same color as
बिल्कुल,
well.
मैं एक बात
You
शेयर
guys,
करूंगा, हमेशा ऐसा होता है गाने वाले को 1000 के मजमे में एक ऐसा सुनने वाला चाहिए होता है कि जो उसको अटेंशन देता है, जो उसको सराहता है, तो वो एक उसके लिए जो है ना वो गाना पसंद करता है।
क्या
बहुत
बात है, क्या
जबरदस्त.
बात है।
Actually, this
Thank you, yaar,
this
thank you so
ghazal happens to be my late father's most favorite ghazal. उनको बहुत पसंद थी. जो ये ghazal ऐसी है कि I can actually listen to it for hours and hours and hours. और मेहदी हसन साहिब ने बहुत हसीन तरीके
and
से
he's
ये sang
contributed
है.
quite a lot. You
Oh,
know, he's
yes.
the
बस
king
वो
of
तो
ghazal
एक
as
बड़ा
well.
नाम है मेहदी हसन साहब, लेकिन हमारे पाकिस्तान में कितना खूबसूरत म्यूजिक।
मैं इसलिए अब आपसे एक और बात पूछने लगा, मुझे बताइए कि क्योंकि बहुत सारे राग होते हैं, राग भैरवी आता है आपको?
जी, राग भैरवी।
जरा हमें हो जाए जरा प्लीज, हो जाए प्लीज, लेट्स डू राग भैरवी।
जी और ये मैं बताता चलूँ कि भैरवी जो है ये एक 24 घंटे का राग है।
हाँ जी।
अमूमन राग होते हैं, उनका वक्त होता है, किसी का दोपहर, किसी का सुबह, लेकिन मैं आपको
Which is why I asked you about राग
इंशाल्लाह।
भैरवी। yes.
एक ठुमरी है, बंदिश, वो मैं आपको पेश करता हूँ।
बहुत अच्छे, बहुत अच्छे।
बाजो बंद खोल खोल जाए जादू की सवरिया सवरिया ने कैसा जादू डाला रे बंद खुल खुल जा ऐसो न डर मोरे माने नहीं बतिया, ऐसो न डर मोरे माने नहीं बतिया, रार करत मोसे बीती सारी रतिया, ऐसो न डर मोरे माने नहीं बतिया, ने रंग पिया तो है लास नया वे, ने रंग पिया तो है रास नया में, हर तो छोड़ो भैया मोरी लागो नहीं छतिया, ऐसो न डर मोरे माने नहीं बतिया, माने नहीं बतिया, माने नहीं बतिया।
Beautiful, man. Sanbhai, thank you so much, yaar. You made our morning so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Can
for
we
being
end
with us.
this on a request?
जी
We can end this. Ahmad Jahazeb ka, there was this song Kaho Ek Din.
हाँ, दरअसल मेरा एक ये भी है कि क्यों मैं अपने
But we're very short on time, Hassan bhai, so you know we will have to quickly do it. We have got one last minute. Everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves. Obviously, ये जरा मन की भावनाओं में बह गई थी सदफ, but ladies and gentlemen, look after yourself. Hassan bhai, thank you so much for being with us. जल्दी से कुछ भी बजा के हम good morning करेंगे.
बिल्कुल ठीक है। मैं पेश करता हूँ, मेरा अपना सॉन्ग है,
Oh,
आ जाए,
कंपोजिशन।
बिस्मिल्लाह.
किसी की खातिर तो खुद को गवा रहा है,
वाह, वाह।
बचपन से बुढ़ापे में जा रहा है, बात सुन तो सबकी और मन की जान ले, कौन तेरा नहीं मान ले।
Oh yes.
क्यों रंगतों में तो रंग को गवा रहा है, क्यों बचपने से बुढ़ापे में जा रहा है, में जा रहा है। चलती हुई गाड़ियों की आवाज सुन तो जरा, मस्ती में हर एक है, तू भी तो जी ले जरा, बारीकी में नहीं, दिल का है तू बादशाह, नीचे है तेरी जमीन, ऊपर खुला आसमां, क्यों बेतुके से तो